So I'm going to show you some simple techniques to get some pretty interesting color effects on your images that are very quick and easy to do. So I've got this image open, which I've taken from unsplash.com. It's a good image, lots of color, but what I'm looking for actually doesn't require that much color. I'm looking for something a little more muted. So what I'm actually going to do is, in order to get the effect I'm after, I've got my layer here, and on my layers palette, I'm going to come down and create a new adjustment layer for hue and saturation. And I'm going to click on this dial here, and now I have my hue and saturation properties underneath. So the reason I've done this instead of just adjusting the layer is I want to be able to come back and adjust it if I need to. But for now, what I'm actually doing is I'm simply going to be selecting colors and sort of like toning down the ones I don't want and keeping the ones I do. So we want to try and get rid of the blue to get a nice sort of like warm effect on this image. So what I'm going to do is under master here, I can come down and I can choose my colors to tone them back. Now I'm actually going to go start with my blues and cyans. So I take my cyan and take the saturation down, go to blues and take the saturation down. And already you can see we've created a pretty cool effect where we've sucked the blues out and things are looking a little warmer. But if you really want to keep it going, I actually recommend going into all the colors, such as greens then, which is sort of a little bit more off. You can see a bit of a green arrow over there. Bring that down. And things are starting to look pretty cool. But to take it further, we can still actually more refine the effect with the colors we want that are left over. So I'm going to keep going up into the yellows. And if I take that all the way back, it's probably a little too much. And the posters have now gone gray. But I can just keep it down a little bit so that we get this effect here. And by going to my layers palette and clicking the eye icon, I can see the before and the after to check out the kind of effect we've been able to get. So that's a pretty easy way to go through and adjust some of these colors. One of the other things you can do is I can go now to, say, my magentas. I can turn the saturation up or down. You can see how we can actually increase the color. So even though I'll bring the magentas down, I can go back to my yellows and even crank that right up if I want the opposite effect. We'll bring it down. And maybe while I'm cranking that up, I don't want it to hit certain areas of the spectrum. So you'll see down here, there's a little range. I can actually bring this range out, and it will affect other areas of the image. You can see the colors it's sort of reaching. I can bring these out, and it will affect more colors in the spectrum. But I don't want to affect more colors in this. I'm going to hit Control-Z, and I can actually even tuck these in a little bit. So if I want to bring out, sort of like cut off some of the oranges, or even actually cut off more of the yellows and the greens, I can actually bring this side in a bit and drag this out. And I get a tighter sort of hold on that color spectrum. So that's a very quick and easy way of doing that. And when you flush out a lot of the cooler colors, the good news is the skin tones remain pretty easily. But what if we want to go in the other direction? I'm going to turn off this layer so we can come back to it. And I'm going to add another adjustment layer for hue saturation to show you a different effect. So this isn't the same effect, this is a different effect. But this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the reds and I'm going to turn those down, moving down to the yellows, turn those right down. We'll go to the greens and maybe just drop that down a bit, not all the way. And the magentas, we're going to bring that down also. And we get this really cool effect with the blues. But if we want to keep the skin tones, we can't really just adjust it out with colors. What I can do is click on the mask of the layer here, grab my paintbrush and black, and kind of paint that area back in. But what if I want like a bit of a halfway effect? I want to be able to adjust it a bit more. I'm going to hit undo, so Control-Z. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come down to my bottom layer here, and I'm going to drag over the plus symbol to create a duplicate. And then I'm going to pop it above the hue and saturation layer. And if I hold down Alt and click on this mask button, I create what's called a negative mask. You can see how this area is black while these are white. I can now paint in the white areas to reveal the original image colors. So if I click on my brush and go to the white section here, I can sort of paint these areas back in. One thing I can also do is simply hit Select Subject, and I can sort of get the bulk of the work done pretty quickly. So I'm just going to quickly paint over the skin areas. And you can see the skin color has returned. It looks a little unnatural, but that's one of the beauties of this. Now we have a layer which is only showcasing the skin color, I can just even take the fill or opacity and bring it down and blend it sort of a little bit more with that palette. The same goes with the actual adjustment layer. I can bring that down to reintroduce some of the color if I want it to look a little more natural. And even further, I can actually create another adjustment layer just for this section. All I need to do is go down to my adjustment layer icon and add, say, hue saturation again. I hold down Alt between the two layers, and I'm going to clip this to the visibility of this layer here. So now if I go into my adjustment layer for hue saturation here, even if I move this slider, it only affects the skin area. So I can actually even create some funky effects if I want to, or I can sort of move this slider more towards a darker or sort of like a warmer, cooler or warmer color and adjust the skin that way. And then I can even bring the saturation down or up from there. So if I need to make further adjustments, I can also do that there. And now we have this nice effect where we got a cooler palette, but we've retained some skin color. Now, on top of this, if you really want to take advantage, is I would probably even create another curves adjustment layer on top of that. That way you can adjust the contrast of your image, maybe bring it right down a bit or try and get a nice sort of middle ground. And you can see now how we have this image here with the cool tones. And at any point, if I've actually done both, I can simply turn these layers off, reactivate the original, and we have this effect instead. So that's a pretty cool and nifty tool just for sort of editing your photos and getting a very quick and easy effect with the colors. I've done this before with some images where I wanted to, especially with people, removing blue can be a really easy effect to sort of get a really good looking photo because you don't have to actually go in and adjust the skin. But yeah, let me know what you think of that. It's a pretty simple and straightforward effect to play with. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.